Okay, so on this wall here, what's going to happen is this is actually going to be brick at the top, and it's going to be curtain wall all the way down to our second level slab. So just as before, we're going to go to an elevation where we can see this, which is the east elevation, and split this with the split tool horizontally, remove this section, select it, delete. Now, one thing I should point out is that the default action for selecting things in Revit is to hover over their edges. But you notice that I hovered over the face of this and selected it. That is because my select elements by face button is turned on right now. So we've used some of these buttons down here. Again, I always suggest turning this one off, the drag elements by selection. I also suggest every now and then turning this on. I'm starting to use this more often. Sometimes I find it does get in the way. I tend to select too many things. But if you want to select by face, turn that on. Delete that. I can use my align tool to align this to that bottom. I can also see here that my bricks appear to be off, so I can, while I'm here, I can align this coursing. And what I did there, I've shown many students this, is the thin lines tool. Sometimes the line weights, as they're displayed, it's hard to see, you know, with the thickness of this line, it's actually hard to see what's going on there. So if you just type TL, it temporarily turns off the line weights until you turn it back on by typing TL again. So that looks good. Now that we know where the top of this is, we can now put our roof in this section, because the bottom of this roof that goes between this fin wall and this piece of the building, the bottom of it aligns with this here. So we can go to a 3D view and see what's going on here. Now we can go to the roof plan, and that roof is by footprint, and we're just going to take the generic roof and we're going to duplicate that, and we're going to make that an 18-inch roof. That's in the instructions as well, and it's just a generic 18-inch thick roof. So 18 inches, I'm sorry, it's 16 inches. 16 inches is a brick coursing. So we have to go in here and edit the structure to 16 inches or 1'4". Hit OK and OK. And now we can draw the boundary. And what I'm going to do is just use the line tool. I'm going to check my options on my options bar, and none of these define slope. This is going to be a flat roof. So none of the edges want to define slope, and we're simply going to start here along this edge of the fin wall, back to this wall, and around to here. Now the roof actually extends out by another 1'4" this way and this way. So we can just draw those two lines in at 1'4", come back here, and now trim to the corner with the TR or trim command, which is right here. Everything looks good. I'm not paying too close attention to this, my height, for now. I just want to get it in there. Hit the green check mark, check it out in 3D, and there's my roof. Now I can go to an east elevation, again using that align tool. You see how often I use it. Align the bottom of that roof down, and again go back to 3D view to check our result, and that's what I've got so far. Now the next thing I need to do is kind of figure out what's going on here, because as I noted before, there is a paver system that goes over this lower slab that brings it up to this height. So I'm going to come into my second floor plan, and I've got that slab selected. We kind of just threw that slab in before. And what I want to do now is I am going to deselect that. I'm going to go to my underlay here. I'm actually going to turn on my roof underlay to see that that wall comes out to here. This slab should actually come out to the face of this wall, because this wall is supported by this slab. So we can select that slab, and again, by having the select elements by face button turned on, I can easily select that slab, edit boundary, And now again, I'm just going to use that align tool and align that slab out to there. Hit the green check mark. Always say no when it asks if the walls that go up to this floor's level to attach to this bottom, say no. And again, check that out in 3D, see what we did. So we pulled that slab out so that our piece of curtain wall that we put on here later will rest on that slab edge. Just to show you what's going on here, I could also go to a second floor plan, and I'm just going to put a wall section in here. Check my type, wall section, and I'm just going to cut a wall section there. Actually going to, actually that's exactly how I want it to look. And if you just double click on the triangle part, the head, it'll take you right to the view that it just created over here in sections. You can change the scale to something more comfortable for a wall section, like 3/4 of an inch. And we can change our detail level to medium. You can see what's going on here. So this slab is now coming over this slab. So this is my second floor slab. This is my patio slab. What I want to do now is create a floor system that goes in here. It's going to be a generic floor system, but it's going to represent the paver floor. It's basically going to be a placeholder until we figure out, you know, in the project what this floor actually looks like. So we need it to be this height. So what we're going to do is go to the second floor plan, and we're going to go to floor. This will be an architectural floor, and we're going to go generic 12 for now. And we're just going to, I'm actually, instead of drawing it, I'm going to use this tool here, the pick lines, and we can pick specific lines. Let me turn thin lines on. And again, this is creating a parametric link to the edges that I'm clicking on right here, so that if I move whatever it is that defines these edges, this slab will move with it. So now I can trim this boundary into a continuous, uninterrupted boundary. There I go. And now hit the green check mark. Again, no. Now I can go back to that section and I can see that this is what I have. Now what I need to do is I need to modify my type. I didn't actually change this yet. I just put in a generic 12 inch, and I want to do 1 foot 3 3/8, or 15 3/8. So I'm going to edit this, duplicate, generic. Actually, I'm going to call this patio paver, and call it 15 3/8 inch. Okay. Change the thickness to 15 3/8 inch, or 1 foot 3 3/8. Hit OK. Hit OK. And now it takes up the whole space there. Again, if I close this, go to a roof plan, sorry, not the roof plan, the 3D view, now I can see what's going on there. I now have a new roof system over top of that slab that meets up with this floor edge. So the next thing I want to tackle before I start putting in curtain wall is, as our design has evolved, we've added some pieces here to the edge of this fin wall to give it some depth. And in the final deliverable, that looks like this. We have two 8-inch pieces that come out on either side. And if you look at the final deliverable perspective, you can see what's going on here. There's an added step here. So the way that we're going to do that is with, if these are one 16-inch basic brick wall, we're going to make an 8-inch basic brick wall to do that. So we are going to go to the wall command. We're going to choose that basic brick wall. Actually, we're just going to choose this one, generic 4-inch brick. And what we're going to do is we're going to edit type, duplicate, and we're going to call this 8-inch brick. Edit the structure, make it 8 inches, And there we go. The wrapping at ends needs to be exactly like our other brick wall. So exterior wrapping. And again, I'm just going to place 2 walls in here. Now I'm going to align them. Now the alignment there is going to be a little tricky. Again, we have to take this wall. Actually, maybe I should have left them out there. What I could do here is, the problem is every time you try to right click on this this handle, when it's on the center line of this wall, it ends up selecting this wall. So we need to drag it off of there first. And just as before, we are going to disallow the wall join on the ends of these. That way we can drag them to there and they won't automatically join this wall. Now we can align them. And in either the east or west elevation, if you look, we have a dimension that these are stepped back from the face of that 2 feet 8. So I can put a dimension in here. Actually, I don't want to put a dimension in here, so I'm going to, in this case, I'm going to use my temporary dimensions. 2 feet 8. Unfortunately, it slips the whole thing back. 2 feet 8. And then you have to edit the back again where it doesn't join. Check that out in 3D, and we can see that they stop here at the top where we had already set that constraint. Now in the south elevation, we can see that the top of that wall is 7 feet 1 11/16 from the roof level. So what we're going to do is select those 2 pieces, make their top constraint the roof level, and then the top offset, I've already forgotten what it is, 7 feet 1 11/16. Now when I was designing this, or looking at where the top of this wall wanted to be, I didn't just come up with that number off the top of my head. Let's look at a west elevation. Again, you'll see that aligns with a brick coursing. Now, you could probably see that some of our brick coursing is a little off. What I like to do is we can align, we know that that's aligned, right, to the first floor, so that looks good. These are aligned, they're a little off that way, so that looks better. We can align to that brick wall from the same point, so that everything's going to course out. Oops, that's going to actually move the wall. So I want to align to there. Yeah, sure. Oh no, it's still doing it. Go further back. There we go. And you can move them half bricks as well. Once you get them aligned, you can actually align right in the same wall area. So these are all aligned vertically. This is where I really need thin lines turned on. That aligns vertically. And this aligns vertically. This you can see is off. So what we're going to do is align that, and I started with the wrong line, align to there. So now that aligns vertically. But there is a misalignment horizontally. So we can click there and click there. And now we have a continuous brick wall and everything courses out. Now we're going to go to the roof plan to do these extensions. So architecture, wall, and we're going to build these again, but they're going to be on the roof. Their constraints are going to be roof. And now if we go to a 3D view, or let's go to a west view, we can pull these up and size them according to the drawings. I'll have that done when I come back in the next video.